All right, it looks like we got a decent amount of people in here. So, welcome everybody, and welcome to our Trent Advantage live stream, all about alternate offers. We're really excited to welcome you to our session today. My name is Rob. I'm an enrollment advisor here at Trent University, and I'm also going to be the moderator for tonight's live stream. With me tonight, I have Claire McCann, who's an admissions officer here at Trent University, and I also have Zachary Brault, who is a academic advisor here at Trent University. So we're really excited to show you your path here to Trent University and also to break down everything that Trent has to offer in terms of alternate offers. So, what is an alternate offer, and give you a little bit of an idea of what you can expect through your application as well. So, during the session, you can ask questions in the chat, and at the end of the session, we'll have a short Q&A period where we'll kind of try and answer all the questions that you've put in the chat. So you can use the Q&A feature, which is located at the bottom of your screen, and we'll try and get to those as many as we can. So I really invite you to add all your questions. We'll try to get to, again, as many as we can. So I'm going to just break down a little bit about what tonight's live stream is going to look like in terms of format. So we'll start obviously with our welcomes and introductions that we're doing right now, and we'll then move into a bit of a presentation section, both by Clara and by Zach, and then end with a Q&A period, some time for you to ask your burning questions to us here. So with that, I'll get the presentations started and I'll hand it over to Clara.
Great. So Rob kind of already introduced me, but my name's Claire McCann. I'm an admissions officer here at Trent. I'm going to be talking about some general information about alternate offers. If you have any questions, you can email me directly at my email just listed on the screen. And there's also our general admissions email listed there as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to email either one of those. I'll just leave it there for a second so you guys can capture that email. So first we're going to start off with what is an alternate offer. So an alternate offer is we have a few different kinds, but it's generally just an alternate offer that's closely related to the program you had applied to. Alternate offers are not capped in not limited seating programs. So usually that's kind of what an alternate offer is. I'll go into detail about the different types that we have. So the different types is, like I said, closely related programs. We also have a degree progression pathway and a Durham transfer pathway. The degree progression pathway is you would still come to Trent, you take some courses at Trent, and then as long as you meet those requirements within taking those courses, you would then move into a non-capped program at Trent. And then kind of same thing goes for Durham transfer pathway. You would do 1 year certificate at Durham College. And then as long as you meet those requirements listed that you could find on our website, then you would then go into again, not capped, not limited seating program at Trent. So alternate offers are one thing to keep in mind when you do, and if you do receive an alternate offer, is you are still being assessed for your original offer. So we will put out an alternate offer, but we continue to assess for that original program as we get new grades. And if you do happen to accept your alternate offer, that doesn't impact your eligibility for your original program. So if you applied to biomedical science, received an alternate offer to biology, and you accepted the alternate offer to biology, you're still being assessed for the biomedical science. That does not impact that. Some students just like to have it accept an offer, so they accept their alternate, but we will still assess until we have all final grades for that original program. So this slide kind of explains a timeline of alternate offers and kind of what each month looks like. So from April to August, we are assessing and going over those applications. Like I said before, we continue to assess for those original programs up until we receive those final grades. So it's really important to make sure you're uploading your transcripts in a timely manner, just to make sure that we're able to assess sooner. And then come September, if you are coming to Trent with your alternate offer, This would be a good time to meet with an academic advisor because at Trent, you're able to transfer into a capped program after your first year at Trent. But we recommend you go see an academic advisor in September so that you can make sure you have all the proper courses if you do then want to apply to transfer into the original capped program. And then in February, that's when the applications open. So on your My Trent portal, there is a form. It's called Transfer In Form. That'll open in February. So that's when you would fill out that form, submit it, and that's you applying for your original capped program. And then in May is when we start assessing for those applications. And we would just look at your first year Trent grades. So your semester 1 and semester 2. One keynote with this is our BBA co-op and our BBA our BBA co-op and our BBA accounting co-op you can't transfer into that after first year. I just wanted to note that. But I believe that's the only one that you can't. And then next, this is kind of just a pathway, and this is kind of what it looks like if you did want to transfer in. So for example, if you were looking to transfer into conservation biology co-op, you would use the transfer in form that I just mentioned that opens up in February. You would need to maintain a minimum of 75% cumulative average, and you would need to make sure that you've taken those two courses listed there in your first year. This kind of outlines all of the other programs and all the other requirements. But again, this is listed on our website. We really recommend you do go to academic advising to make sure you have all of these covered. And then this is just some more programs and requirements. And then when is an alternate offer of admission given? We usually give alternate offers after applications have closed. That being said, they go on continuously as we assess. Another key note is once we've received your final grades, we don't actually send out anything letting you know that you are no longer being offered for your original program. So once we receive final grades, depending on how quickly we assess, that will be at the time that you know you're either coming for your alternate offer or you're coming for your original program. But we don't send out any communication like solidifying that you are no longer offered your original program. So once we have final grades, I would say give or take a few weeks if you haven't received your original program, that would mean you are officially getting your alternate offer. But again, if you have any questions about your application or alternate offer specifically, like feel free to message and reach out to the admissions email directly, or like I said, my email is listed on the front page. I can go back to that if you guys need that. I won't be able to answer any specific application questions at this point, but that admissions email is welcome. You can submit any questions you have there for your personal application, and we'd be happy to help. And I think that is kind of it for our alternate offers from the admissions side. It was pretty quick. If you guys have any questions, I'll be here the whole time. I'm going to pass it over to Zach, and he's going to talk about the advising side, but I will be here. And at the end, when there's a Q&A, feel free to ask any questions at that point as well.
Thank you, Claire, for that. So as mentioned a couple times, my name's Zach Bro, and I'm one of the academic advisors located at the Peterborough campus, and more specifically at Trail College. At Trent, we actually have several academic advisors for you to work with. We have advisors in all of the colleges at Peterborough, including international academic advisors that are well-versed on study permits, visas, immigration, regulations, as well as advisors at our Durham campus. And as a student at Trent, you actually have access to all of us. So lots of great resources there. But as we go to the next slide here, just to talk about academic advising at Trent, academic advising really is an ongoing educational partnership between the advisor, so us, and the advisee, which is you, that's dedicated to student learning, development, and success. Through the advising experience, students develop educational plans for achieving their personal and academic goals and develop the skills and commitment to become engaged, self-directed learners and competent decision makers. So what is it that we actually do? We do help students clarify academic goals and create a plan to achieve them. We can help you with understanding your program and degree requirements and how the policies work around them. We help students select a major, decide which courses to take for their degree that they want, as well as understand which options are available to them, such as majors, joint majors, minors, specializations. And Trent really does offer many flexible options for you and the degree that you may want or you may want to create while you're here. We do help students. Well, we teach students how to understand academic regulations, and we want to empower and encourage students to take charge of their education. So as a student with an alternate offer, it really is important to understand what this offer means and how you can plan to move forward with it. By meeting with an academic advisor, we can help you understand your offer and help you plan your courses accordingly to get on track with this program and to help to keep your doors open. If you are to accept your alternate offer, it's giving you the opportunity to come to Trent for that program, not the original program that you had applied for. And we can help you understand this new program, choose courses that align with it, talk about changing majors if that's not a program you're wanting to continue in, and discuss the steps and courses necessary for you to take if you wish to be eligible to apply to transfer into your original program of interest for your second year, as Claire was mentioning previously. We could also help you stay on track. As you move forward with your studies and possibly apply to transfer into your initial program of choice, we're here to help you stay on track. That means assessing your progress and developing educational plans with you to adapt to changing circumstances. In fact, you may actually fall in love with your alternate offer and not want to apply to transfer. You may also take a course in your first year and decide to completely change your major based on that. And we're here to help no matter what you want, no matter where you want to go. And finally, we can help you get back on track. Alternate offer or not, sometimes life just happens and we can help you navigate your challenges and find solutions that find solutions that really fit you. Whether it be difficulties completing courses, program requirements, or just handling life, we're a great first resource and are able to help you understand your options, as well as connect you with other services and supports on campus, such as academic skills, student accessibility services, counseling and health services, and so much more. But I think the key takeaway of that is we are your go-to person. So if you do have any questions regarding the alternate offer, how to pick courses, how to register in courses, how to change your program, and if life just gets in the way and you don't know where to go, we're that great first resource for you. But now what we'll do is actually talk about degree requirements. A big part of meeting with us, as mentioned, is to understand how to plan and how to learn about degree requirements. Meeting with an advisor as a student with an alternate offer will help you understand your offer and your degree requirements to keep doors open. As a student in general, it's also important to know how to find your degree requirements. And everything you'll need to know about your degree will be found in the academic calendar, which can be found in your My Trent portal under the Register tab. This calendar outlines the program-specific requirements to every single degree at Trent, as well as the university requirements that are applied to all degrees. Other important things also found in the academic calendar are a list of important dates and deadlines, as well as academic rules and regulations. And academic advisors really are the experts when it comes to understanding and unpacking the academic calendar, which can be a daunting document. I think it's over 1,000 pages now, but there's only going to be small sections that are relevant to each student. The academic calendar itself for the 2025-26 academic year, so this upcoming academic year, will be posted in May, and there is an updated version that usually gets posted in August as well. This will be the calendar you will follow for your undergraduate degree program, unless you make a change to your program and/or major and need to follow a newer calendar. But in general, we do encourage all students to start with the undergraduate academic calendar, which is our go-to manual for all the academic regulations, degree and program requirements, and important dates. We also have many tools available to help you plan your degree on our advising webpage, which is trentu.ca/advising, which I realized I did not put on the slide. So Rob probably pop that in the chat for everyone there. Again, just trentu.ca/advising. And just on the next slide here, we do have several resources available to you on our webpage, including how to find program requirements, which courses to take in first year based on your program, degree planning tools, a GPA calculator, as well as instructional videos. And we also are available to meet with students 5 days a week. Even with all these supports, one thing that I do like to note is the following quote from the academic calendar. It is the responsibility of all students to familiarize themselves with the specific requirements for the degree or diploma that they seek. While advice and counseling are readily available, it's the student's responsibility to ensure that the courses in which they register fulfill their degree and program requirements. So that probably sounds scary when I say it out loud like that. It's not meant to be scary. What that is saying is there's lots of great resources for the university, and we want to encourage you to take advantage of those resources, because at the end of the day, it is your responsibility to make sure you're taking all those right steps. And we're here as advisors to make sure you are taking those right steps and you are choosing the right things. So that's why it really is important to meet with academic advising, because it is on you at the end of the day, and we could help make sure that you are making all those right choices. So really, we are here to support you in every single way that you can think of. Next steps. So if you have an alternate offer, have a look at our online resources and you viewed the academic calendar and you still have questions, you can absolutely book with us. We want to meet with our students to ensure that they're understanding their requirements, and we're available for appointments Monday through Friday. We do offer same-day appointments that can be booked by calling 705-748-1011, extension 7333, which is just on the screen there, starting at 8:50 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the morning of the day you'd like to book for either an in-person, over the phone, or video chat appointment. And alternatively, you can also pre-book online for up to 1 week in advance through the student experience portal at trentu.ca/SEP. When you are booking an appointment, know that all appointments are 30-minute long. Every appointment can be done in person, over the phone, or on video chat, so that we're able to meet you wherever you are. And if you think you just have a quick question that doesn't deserve an appointment, you still can book the appointment, because oftentimes we'll ask questions and unpack. But what you can do is just send us an email at academicadvising@trentu.ca. But with that, I will end my portion here of the presentation so that we're able to wrap up and dive into the Q&A.
All right, great, Zach, Clara, thank you so much. So now we'll open up the floor for a Q&A session. So at the bottom of your screen, you'll find the Q&A feature. So if you want to pop any questions you have, we can kind of go about answering them. I'll get to as many as I can. So I'll give you a second to put those in. And while we wait for those, I just wanted to maybe pose a question that I hear a lot for students. So changing majors after first year or applying into specific programs, is this kind of a one size fit all, or are there multiple different forms that students need to fill out? Are there different ways that students have to apply or fill out a form? Is that found like on their MyTrent portal, or just those general questions?
Yeah, and that's a great question, because there are different ways of doing it. So we do have an online resource for all students where they can see how to change majors. But there are 3 main ways of doing it. The first is through a form in your MyTrent portal. So there's a form there called Change of Major, conveniently. And the majority of non-cap programs are just in that form. So you can go in there, scroll through the variety of programs, and change your major that way. Then, as Claire was mentioning, we do also have some capped programs at the university. So there is a form that opens up in MyTrent every year in February and stays open until May 15th. And that is the Transfer into a Capped Programs form. These capped programs are typically the programs that give out alternate offers. So likely if you're in this, you may have applied to one of those capped programs and got an alternate offer. So that is a good form to be aware of. And then finally, there are a couple programs where you just email the director of the program. And I know that seems a little strange, But the Bachelor of Arts in Science Honors, for example, that's a program that you would email their coordinator directly, have a conversation with them, see if it's a program of fit and if you're on track to get into that program. So those would be the three main ways of how to do that.
Great, thanks, Zach. So maybe let's dive into some of the questions here in the chat. So how do you know if you got an alternate offer because your original pick reached max capacity or because they're waiting for more final marks? So is it because of max capacity or is it because of marks? Is there something, maybe Clara, this is something you can touch on that they would know about, or is that something more the admissions side deals with?
Yeah, so if you've received an alternate offer, if we have all of your grades, then it's likely that either you didn't meet the competitive average or there is a missing prerequisite. At the time of assessing, because our CAP programs are, there is a competitive average. We never know exactly what that admitting average is going to be at because it's competitive. So if you're currently in studies and we have received grades at the time of assessing, you may have not met that competitive average where you can be admitted, but you may be within the range. So at that point, we can give you an alternate offer and then wait to as more grades come in to then reassess and see where that average is at that point. If you have questions specifically about your application, like I said, feel free to email admissions@trentu.ca and we could look into that more. But that's kind of how they work. And if you receive an alternate offer and we're receiving grades from your current studies, we still assess until the program is full. So there is a potential that the program is full. Therefore, that's why you've got the alternate offer. But it's kind of a case by case basis. There's no flat answer as to why. But I would recommend reaching out to admissions to see if you're interested in seeing why you got the alternate offer. That would be the best point of contact to do that because we're not able to discuss that obviously in this meeting.
Definitely a little more of a personal question for sure. So maybe we can touch a little bit on if either of you have ideas of what the benefit of taking like a general program is. I think some students might, apply for capped programs and then they'll get an offer to a general arts or general science. And, is there any benefit to taking a general program? What are the great sides of starting a little more general and then maybe trying to figure out if it's something you want to apply to a more capped program or more specialized?
Yeah, I could definitely speak to that because I see it all the time in my role as an academic advisor. I think coming in as a general student, so honors science or honors arts, is great because it's giving you the opportunity to come to Trent, take courses that you're interested in the sciences or in the humanities, and really explore a wide variety of programs all at the same time. The one caveat I have to that is if you are coming in a general program, you absolutely want to meet with an academic advisor when doing your course registration because we can show you how to keep your doors open to get into a wide variety of programs rather than you just randomly pick and choosing like one bio, one chem, one kinesiology, one psychology, because that might set you a little back if you're not picking up the required courses in first year for specific programs. So it's great in the sense of having that flexibility to explore and also be cautious with that flexibility because you want to keep doors open and get proper prerequisites to go into second year. And that's where academic advising really comes into play.
For sure. Meeting with an academic advisor is always something that I stress to students as well. Just creating somewhat of a framework, getting an idea of what you want to do and ultimately leading to a career afterwards for sure. I guess this is a question maybe further down the line for students, but still something relevant that I've heard as well. Students maybe they aren't sure of exactly what they want to do in first year, and maybe they don't even know after first year, but they want to change a major or apply into something after first year while they're in second year. Is this something that they can do? Are there any kind of caveats after first year to the programs that they can apply to?
Yeah, I could definitely answer that as well. I'll start by saying you graduate grade 12, you have no idea what you want to do with your life. There might be a small handful of you that know exactly what you want to do. But once you get to university and start exploring different things, it is very common for folks to change their minds. I can safely say I was in my fourth year, and that's when I changed my career path of where I was going with everything. And I feel like I managed quite fine in that sense. So, in terms of changing majors, if it's one of those general programs on the change of major form, students can do that at any point in time. The biggest thing is knowing what courses you've already taken so that you can see where you are in that program. So if you are changing your major after your second year, again, super big to be connecting with academic advising so we can go over the record that you have at Trent, what courses you've taken, and map out what will still be needed of you to graduate. And sometimes if you are changing your major beyond that second year, it may mean extending by a semester to pick up courses you hadn't previously picked up. Now, when we're looking at those capped programs, some of these capped programs will limit you, like the teacher education stream, for example. That's a program that you're only allowed to transfer in if you've completed 5 or fewer credits at the university. So anything on that form is a little bit trickier. There can be deadlines to get into those programs. But more generally speaking, students can change their major at any point in time. And it's a conversation I have with students every single day.
So even more of an incentive to meet with an academic advisor, right? Yeah. For sure. Maybe we can talk a little bit about students that are upgrading marks. I talk to a lot of students on the phones or over emails or in person about that they're in the progress of upgrading marks or they're doing it over the summer. Is this something that could help their chances to get, as a lot of people say, reevaluated, or are these alternate offers typically final?
No, so that's a really good question. If a student had applied and they are finished their studies, and they were missing a prerequisite or they wanted to bring up their average, upgrading courses is the way to do it. The requirement is those need to be finished before they start, they come to start at Trent. But upgrading is always an option if, like I said, if you're missing a prereq that you need, but you have the grades, or if you just need to bring up your average a little bit, those are great ways to do that. Keep in mind, if you are upgrading for a prereq or upgrading for your average, it's not a guarantee that you're going to get into that original program. However, it is an option you can explore to potentially get that original offer. But I just like to note that because if you do upgrade your courses, it's not a guarantee. It's just like, because they're capped programs, we can never guarantee that. But that is an option for those students who are looking to upgrade or get prereqs or bring up their average a bit. Upgrading courses is for sure an option.
Awesome. Thank you, Clara. So maybe this is, again, a question for Zach, but we have a student here who's accepted a alternate offer program. And so they're just wondering about what their next steps are, and then also when they can begin to start selecting their courses for the fall as well.
Yeah, definitely. I'll plug another live stream. At the end of May, there is going to be a course registration live stream. The date for that, I don't think actually has been decided yet. But I would definitely suggest coming to that. So we'll have a couple academic advisors as part of that and folks from the registrar's office as well. And we'll go through the whole system of how to find courses, how to put them in a schedule, how to register for courses, and how to know what courses to take. So I would definitely suggest that as your next step is going to that live stream. Alternatively, if you do go on the advising webpage, and I know Rob put that in the chat there, so trentu.ca/advising, you can find tools on there for planning your degree, as well as courses that we suggest for different majors, just to give yourself a little bit of a head start. And then course registration itself doesn't happen until mid to late June. So it may be the very last week of June that you're registering for courses. The dates themselves have not been released yet. So lots of time to get yourself prepared. You could take a look at our resources. And like I said, I think coming to the live stream at the end of May is probably one of the biggest things you could do.
Yeah, for sure. The live stream should be in the last week of May, I believe. We're just figuring out a date for that. But you can also find recordings of past live streams that we've done in like last year as well, that will walk you a little bit through the live stream before. So if you'd like, a little bit of an introduction into what course selection's like, you can always check that one out on Trent University's YouTube page as well. Let's see if we can find another question here. So I think you touched on it a little bit, but are there any specific programs that outside of the teacher education stream that if you got an alternate offer to an art science, that you might have to catch up on a couple more courses, if you transfer after first year as well?
Honestly, a lot of the CAP programs are like that. So a lot of the CAP programs, kinesiology, for example, there's some kin courses that you're not able to take in your first year. Education, similar. Nursing, you're not able to take any of those. So really, a lot of those programs that are capped have specific capped first year courses. What you're able to do is take those non-capped courses in the first year, and that's what you're wanting to do to be able to apply to transfer in. And then if you are successful in transferring in your second year, then you're backtracking to pick up those capped classes. But it's not setting you back in terms of graduation. You're still typically able to graduate within those 4 years. Even if it sounds like you're backtracking to pick up classes, it all still works out for students to do within 4 years.
And I noticed a lot of students will talk about taking things like summer courses in order to progress their degrees. Is this something that you typically find is something that helps students, meet that timeline of graduation as well?
Summer courses are definitely an option. They're not for everyone. Some folks do like having that break. But yes, I've seen students do summer courses to accelerate their graduation. I've seen really strong students take a 6th course instead of 5 in a semester to accelerate their graduation. And I've also seen the opposite. I've seen students who know they do better by only taking 4 courses. So they extend their degree by an entire year so that they're taking 4 classes per semester instead of 5, so that they're getting the grades they want and they're absorbing the material they want. So there are always ways to fast track and also slow down. And there's no right or wrong way to do it because there's no deadline in terms of when you need to graduate. We're not kicking you out at the end of 4 years. So if it takes you a little bit longer, that's fine. And if you want to fast track and do 3.5 years, also fine.
Yeah, definitely, a flexible approach to how you want to tailor your degree to, really what you want to do as well. So that looks like most of the questions that we have in the Q&A. Maybe I'll wait another minute before we sign off here, but I'd like to thank both of you, Clara and Zach, for joining tonight, and obviously everybody in in the webinar as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact us either at discovertrent@trentu.ca or the previously mentioned admissions@trentu.ca if you have admissions questions, or visit our academic advising team, or you can email them at academicadvising@trentu.ca.